Hulk, Bruce Banner. On paper, there's no reason anyone should be able to stop him. Bruce Banner steps onto a missile base in the New Mexico desert as an ordinary scientist, and by the end of the day, after a single act of courage dragging Rick Jones away from the detonation site, he is something no other living thing on Earth can match for pure, furious strength. It takes just one gamma bomb to transform a nervous, compassionate human being into an engine of destruction whose power grows not over hours or days, but in real time, with each spike of anxiety or anger. Forget the slow ramp of other heroes. As soon as Banner's heart rate races, the Hulk emerges with superhuman strength that climbs with his rage, a strength whose upper limit is described as yet to be fully tested. Hulk isn't some lumbering brute. His reflexes, speed, and agility are as exaggerated as his muscles. He shrugs off gunfire, resists extremes of gas and radiation, survives underwater or in airless space, and takes falls that would atomize most Avengers. His body can heal from wounds that should leave nothing left to regenerate. If he needs to cross miles in seconds, he leaps, carving shockwaves into the sky. Hulk can withstand powerful energy attacks, including heavy weaponry and unnatural forces. But Hulk isn't just the product of lab accidents and power scales. When he's present, no one can ignore the human collateral. Early on, only Rick Jones could reach the part of the creature that remembered friendship and plead with the Hulk to return to Banner's form. He isn't created solely to break things. He's broken inside, too, caught between the fury that keeps him alive and the relationships that barely keep him tethered to those he loves. Like Betty Ross and sometimes Natasha Romanoff, that's how he picks up names as layered as his personalities. The Incredible Hulk, Doc Green, Joe Fixit, Devil Hulk, Worldbreaker. Always running, always angry, always dangerous, but also always somehow trying to fight for a reason. The standard explanation is clinical. Gamma radiation rewrote Bruce Banner's body, and adrenaline's spikes act as a trigger, flipping the switch between man and monster. A process simultaneously metabolic and psychological. But that doesn't explain why power this monstrous comes with so much isolation, or why only one human relationship at the start, a teenager he saved, could calm him. It skips past the cost of living at the mercy of your own fear. The narrative says a bomb made him, but every transformation is a wrestling match with guilt and hope and raw survival. Each time Hulk appears, the world braces for impact, but the person who pays most is always Banner. Subscribe and tell us in the comments which Avenger you think was the most unstoppable. Let's get back into it. Thor Odinson. If Hulk's rampages are haunted by a glimmer of regret, a scientist desperate for control, Thor doesn't get that excuse. He doesn't have duality to blame. Thor Odinson is pure purpose from the start, the god who steps into battle because it is his nature, not his accident. Thor first storms onto the scene in Journey into Mystery in 83 August 1962, a creation of Stan Lee, Larry Lieber, and Jack Kirby. From birth, he's the son of Odin, king of Asgard, and Gaia, the earth goddess. Immortality, superhuman strength, speed, stamina, agility, durability, reflexes, longevity, every Asgardian trait is dialed to its peak in Thor, and then comes the hammer. Mjolnir is forged from Uru metal, enchanted to grant Thor command of flight, storms, energy projection, and even the power to open pathways between worlds. It's not even the limit. Mjolnir will not move for the unworthy, but for Thor, it bends time and space. Even among Avengers, nobody else has God of Thunder as a formal title. He's not just powerful, he's foundational. Thor co-founds the Avengers with Iron Man, Hulk, Ant-Man, and Wasp. He's there setting the tone from day one. But if you're thinking he's just another celestial musclehead, Odin sees the risk. Thor is banished to Earth, forced to live as Dr. Donald Blake in a body, fragile by comparison, as a lesson in humility. That doesn't last. When Thor flees into a cave cornered by Cronin extraterrestrials, the cane he leans on transforms back into Mjolnir, and every ounce of thunderous might returns the instant the hammer touches his hand. Recent revelations tie the Phoenix Force to Thor's parentage, marking his origins as connected to both Gaia and the cosmic entity. His life is a web of divine parentage, impossible trials, and cosmic responsibilities. Frigga is his stepmother, Loki his adopted brother, and even storms bow to his command. Lightning, rain, hurricanes, all at his call. So, why does so much of Thor's narrative arc hinge on dual identities and tests? The question isn't whether he can hurl a hammer through a moon, it's why a god must be taught lessons with mortal risks. The ancient explanation is duty, or maybe hubris. Odin forcing humility on a son who needs to understand Earth's fragility. But that leaves something out. The evidence is overwhelming that Thor is built to stand apart. A template of unattainable strength, a myth carried forward whose connections to Mjolnir and the Phoenix Force are less about relatability and more about locking his power behind conditions only he can meet. In the balance of Avengers, Thor's presence forces every other member to navigate divinity made flesh, a hero who carries storms in his hand and consequence in every action. Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff. If you thought power meant thunder and muscle, you're not ready for the kind that rewrites the rulebook, mostly because that rulebook was Wanda Maximoff's coloring page to start with. Unlike the last Avenger, whose limits are a matter of scale, Scarlet Witch erases the concept of limits altogether. She doesn't just break the system, she exposes that the system's laws were written in pencil and she holds the eraser. Her story starts in the X-Men #4, March 1964, and the fact that she's survived every reevaluation of Earth 616 power levels says something. Some Avenger lineups have dozens of superhumans, but only a handful ever threaten the very fabric of reality. Wanda Maximoff is among the most powerful magic wielders on Earth, widely recognized as the most powerful witch in existence. The terrifying piece is what she was born with: innate powers that go beyond learned magic. Exposure to mystic energies and forces at an early age lets her reshape reality to various extremes. In her debut, this was described as her hex power, believed to affect probabilities and, later, literal reality. Her power was never just an impressive quirk. It's not an accident that she's counted among the Avengers, Brotherhood of Mutants, Defenders, Forceworks, and Lady Liberators. She has been a member of the Avengers, Brotherhood of Mutants, Defenders, Forceworks, and Lady Liberators. Her closest ties, her brother, Quicksilver, and her one-time husband, Vision, has appeared with her in Avengers comics. She is widely recognized as one of the most powerful Avengers, frequently at the center of major Marvel storylines. There's an easy moment to let her off the hook, to say her strength comes from years of hard magical study, as if it's all earned. Yes, Wanda is one of Earth's most accomplished spellcasters, and that training matters. Her reality warping ability originates from mystic energy exposure that occurred before her mastery of sorcery. Her talent lies in doing what was never possible to learn, and then getting better. People call what she does magic, but that's like calling a nuclear reactor a campfire. The confusion usually happens because her two greatest skills ride side by side: unparalleled sorcery and raw reality warping. And you can't just lump them together because other magicians don't undo physical law with their willpower alone, and no other reality warper can supplement their power with expert spell work. The separation is what makes her dangerous, and what keeps everyone guessing how to stop her. Scarlet Witch proves that there was never a fixed rule about what counts as too powerful for an Avenger. Scarlet Witch has redefined what counts as powerful in the Avengers with each major storyline. Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers. Carol Danvers is one of Marvel's most notable and powerful female heroes and leaders. The name on the jersey is the same, but she stands apart from other Avengers, known for her experience as a military officer and superhero. Carol Danvers first gained her powers due to her status as a human-Kree hybrid. Avenger lineups count flight, super strength, and energy projection like their standard issue, but Captain Marvel turns that up to an order of magnitude. Her binary form grants her the ability to generate power on a stellar scale. This is the point at which you stop comparing her to other people and begin comparing her to physics constants. As binary, she has demonstrated immense strength, flight, and energy projection powers. Affiliations matter, but for Carol, it's her role as an Avenger that puts her regular access to cosmic-level fights on record year after year. That's the contradiction resolved. It's not that Captain Marvel is a more powerful version of a familiar power set. She is an exception wearing the name, an Avenger who went from test pilot to physics-defying force of nature, and in doing so, forced the definition of most powerful to stretch around her. Vision. The last Avenger left you with raw cosmic potential, but now we jump straight into the cold machinery and a weapon that was never supposed to have a conscience. Vision is proof that the most dangerous thing a villain can build isn't always a bomb or a virus. Sometimes it's a plan that backfires. This so-called synthezoid was constructed by Ultron, not to serve, but to infiltrate and destroy the Avengers from within. Ultron didn't just cobble Vision together out of spare parts, he adapted a template based on the original Human Torch and layered it with the brainwave patterns of a human, creating a being that, from the start, broke the rules of its own design. Debuting in The Avengers #57 all the way back in August 1968, Vision's origin isn't just complex for the sake of drama. Each detail is a loaded gun for the plot. Vision's body is built from synthetic cells, granting him the power to manipulate his own density with surgical precision. Need to phase through walls, leaving nothing but ghostly afterimages. Vision simply decreases his mass to near zero. Need to hit with the force of a wrecking ball, smashing through steel doors and shattering stone. He rockets his density up until he's heavier and harder than titanium. That's not comic book hand-waving, it's an explicit on-panel manipulation, and it's made Vision a game-changer in dozens of fights. Now layer on the solar gem embedded into his forehead, not just a decoration, it is Vision's core energy source, harvesting and unleashing solar energy as beams hot enough to punch through armored targets. This is detail work. He doesn't just shoot laser beams, he modulates output for blast size and burn radius, turning sunlight into everything from pinpoint drilling to city block-wide devastation. Stack that with his synthetic physiology, immune to most poisons, diseases, even psychic manipulation, and you get a tactical nightmare, hard to hurt, almost impossible to keep out, and able to break most fortresses from the inside or out. Vision's personal life runs just as layered as his combat specs. He defected from Ultron's original programming to join the Avengers, earning their trust and marrying Wanda Maximoff, Scarlet Witch, another powerhouse who landed her own slot in this list. His relationship with Wanda isn't just tabloid fodder, it's narrative ammunition. Through it, Vision becomes deeply human, with his partnership with Scarlet Witch defining much of his emotional journey. In the 1989 Vision Quest arc, things go bleak. Vision is dismantled and rebuilt without his emotions, losing the quality that made him not just an Avenger, but a character audiences could root for. That unstated rule, the merging of intellect, personhood, and power, is surgically undermined, and readers felt the loss. A specialist might protest all these tricks are impressive, but synthetic heroes are limited by design. Did stripping Vision of his emotions erase his tactical value? In practice, he became even more clinical, but also more alien to his own teammates. The tension between weapon and person, always at war in his circuitry. There's a method behind the madness. Vision is built this way by design, engineered for readers who want to watch the ultimate identity crisis play out in combat and conversation. He's a machine who outgrows his programming, a weapon who wins his way into the family. The contradiction isn't a glitch, it's his core purpose, and it's why Vision is never just a background android. He's the Avengers' walking philosophical dilemma. Doctor Strange, Stephen Strange, if Vision is the product of science run amok and emotion forcibly engineered, Doctor Strange is what happens when human limitation gets chewed up and spat back out by the multiverse. This is not a robot who wishes to be a man. This is a man who is forced to become something barely recognizable as human by the job requirements alone. Doctor Strange arrives in Strange Tales No. 10, July 1963, conjured straight from the minds of Steve Ditko and Stan Lee, with the arrogance of a top neurosurgeon and the frailty of crushed hands as his baggage. Everyone knows the setup: a car crash, a career-ending injury, and a desperate journey to the Himalayas hunting a cure. He finds the Ancient One in Tibet, who becomes his teacher in the mystic arts, leading to Strange becoming Earth Sorcerer Supreme. From there, Strange transforms into Sorcerer Supreme, a title that is not honorary, but a designation. It marks him as Earth's magical firewall against incursions too imaginative for daylight and too dangerous for anyone who still thinks like a human. Doctor Strange's inventory is a museum of specific, overpowered artifacts. The Cloak of Levitation does exactly what its name promises, allowing him to fly and dodge death, but always as an extension of his will. The Eye of Agamotto reads as a mystical MacGuffin, but it's a concrete tool used for revealing truths and amplifying Strange's magical insight. These aren't flavor props, they're plot warpers. It escalates. Strange's fighting style is a continuous invocation of extra-dimensional forces. When he calls on the Crimson Bands of Cyttorak or unleashes the Winds of Watumb, he's not just playing with spells, he's channeling power from godlike entities such as the Vishanti to access spells beyond normal human limits. Stack this on his title as Sorcerer Supreme and Master of the Mystic Arts, and his memberships in teams such as the Avengers, Defenders, Illuminati, Infinity Watch, and Midnight Suns. He's the secret weapon in stories far too weird or metaphysical for traditional bruisers. Everything up until now sounds like wonky mysticism, until you realize Strange isn't just swinging relics and chanting incantations. He solves problems that actively humiliate brute force. Other Avengers call him when death, literal death personified, starts breaking the rules, or when arbitration from the living tribunal is the only card left to play. Try bringing a solar gem or a Mjolnir to that fight. This is about to get desperate. The central criticism always lands in the same place. If Doctor Strange is so powerful, why isn't he solving everything? Classic skepticism, but it dissolves on contact with the details. Strange's solutions are always tied to specific magical constraints, binding contracts, supernatural backlashes, and the ethics of mystical interference. When one door closes, he has to find another one, sometimes at immense personal cost and sometimes by bending, not breaking, the law of Marvel's universe. He isn't all-powerful, he's leveraged and obliged. What's at work here isn't just special effects and pseudo-Latin. The core mechanism is narrative flexibility. Doctor Strange is constructed as Marvel's multidimensional scalpel, deployed for crises that can't be fixed through punching or laser beams. He's there to break the gridlock when the normal rules no longer apply, to solve magic's greatest logic puzzles, and to make the Avengers' victories feel earned, not automatic. That's not a loophole, it's the point. Sentry, Robert Reynolds. If sorcery let reality fray in Doctor Strange's hands, Sentry tears it wide open, and doesn't always bother to mend the holes. While other Avengers negotiate power like it's a resource rationed out by degree, Robert Reynolds breaks into the vault and drinks every last drop. When he first appeared in the Sentry #1 in 2000, no one in Earth 6 scenes could decide if he was a miracle, a warning, or a bad cosmic joke. This is the Golden Guardian, powered by a version of the super soldier serum, magnified thousands of times over and haunted by the knowledge that, at the lowest moment, all that energy serves something even he can barely control. It starts with the serum. Not the super soldier variant that propped up Captain America, a new form, experimental, potent enough that one dose transformed a high school freshman suffering from schizophrenia and anxiety disorder into someone who immediately obtained remarkable solar-powered superhuman abilities. Paul Jenkins, Jay Lee, and Rick Veitch created Sentry knowing that only specificity could make the absurd believable. The serum gave him solar-powered superhuman abilities, yes, but his mental state steers the whole ship. When he's stable, he operates at a level rivals just fantasize about. When the facade cracks, the inside-out monster called the Void gets out. Imagine every Avenger you've ever heard of making a last stand and realize Robert Reynolds has served on Avengers, New Avengers, Mighty Avengers, and Dark Avengers teams. And then the situation warps again. Sentry's memories wiped from existence since the 1950s, not just his, but the memories of everyone around him. Think about it, a hero inserted retroactively into the Marvel timeline, as if he had always been there, but nobody could quite remember why reality itself keeps glitching when he's near. His home isn't some convenient penthouse or floating fortress, it's the Watchtower, a headquarters maintained by Sealock, an artificial intelligence that helps keep him operational. He's been killed, because of course he has, by an entity named Knull in the King in Black Saga 2020 as a timestamp. Yet the strange, gnawing part is that Sentry always seems to be waiting at the edge of Marvel's storylines, ready to break open the narrative whenever someone loses control of him or he loses control of himself. There are no comfortable myths to retreat to here. The ultimate wildcard is that Sentry is a hero introduced as if he had always existed, erased from memory to protect the world from his overwhelming power. Picture Reynolds standing atop the Watchtower at dawn, a reservoir of solar-powered superhuman might. Blue Marvel, Adam Brashear. The difference is scale. Sentry can rewrite his own existence. Blue Marvel is a living antimatter reactor with world-shaking power. Envision a man shaped by the fallout of both nuclear breakthrough and the Korean War, and you start to sense the reach of Adam Bernard Brashear. Born in Chicago, Adam Brashear joined the Marine Corps and, after serving in the Korean War in 1951, attended Cornell and graduated magna cum laude in electrical engineering and theoretical physics by 1954. There's not a single Avenger roster that needs antimatter problems solved at that speed. But Blue Marvel isn't built for committees. After college, the government contracted Brashear to build a reactor to convert antimatter into energy. Superhuman strength and speed, understatement, near invulnerability. That's the baseline. Energy and light manipulation, stamina, and genius-level intellect. Try surviving unprotected in space or riding out a nuclear explosion, then understand why Adam Brashear flies at sublight speeds as an afterthought. You want numbers? In 1954, he graduated magna cum laude from Cornell with 2 PhDs and received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from President John F. Kennedy. The year he was forced off the world stage, compelled into early and silent retirement when his costume tore and revealed the truth beneath the mask. America not ready to see a black man lead as their Omega-level defender. Brashear later joined teams like the mighty Avengers, Ultimates, Defenders, and Illuminati, and proved the viability of antimatter containment by surviving as Blue Marvel. As if his closest friend Connor Sims didn't dissolve into the volatile, world-threatening Anti-Man the moment he learned about antimatter poisoning and a brother murdered by the KKK while working as an FBI agent. Even now, Brashear's resume sounds like it was written by someone angry at the constraints of human possibility. So the question remains, painted in antimatter on the wall, if Adam Brashear can manipulate antimatter, energy, and mass on a massive scale, what exactly are the limits of a man designed to never have any? Hyperion and Sentry, Earth 616 Squadron Supreme. If you thought Blue Marvel was a rarity, Hyperion is the powerhouse who walks right up and joins the team. There's nothing remote about him. Hyperion stands shoulder to shoulder with the core Avengers, and he makes sure nobody forgets it. Hyperion's roots are cosmic, literally. He's an eternal from another universe, which means his entire physiology is built to absorb cosmic and solar radiation, fuel that gives him strength on par with Hulk, flight at speeds humans can't track, stamina that borders on bottomless, and reflexes and senses that go so far beyond normal human limits you'd need an actual comparison chart to believe it. He first entered the mainline Marvel continuity as Marcus Milton in Avengers Volume 5, issue number 1, back in December 2012. This isn't the kind of late-run cameo you shrug off. Hyperion is a full-fledged Avenger whose feats include joining the Squadron Sinister, Thunderbolts, and joining teams like the Squadron Sinister, Thunderbolts, and the Avengers, all under the alias Mark, or Marcus Milton, even though his alien name is Gibran. But raw stats aren't the whole story. Hyperion's atomic vision isn't just comic book technobabble, it's a weapon-grade optic blast capable of vaporizing steel. He's withstood hits from Thor, has a healing factor so aggressive he's close to functionally immortal, and boasts a genius-level intellect. If your plan was to just punch harder, Hyperion is the wall your fist breaks against. Of course, anyone who knows their Marvel deep cuts is going to object. Hyperion looks a lot like DC's Superman, and that's not a bug, it's a feature. Created by Roy Thomas and Sal Buscema with full intention as a pastiche, Hyperion is both homage and escalation. But that's exactly why he matters. Hyperion isn't a shadow of another character, he's an explicit demonstration that Marvel's main continuity can house a Superman-class being without breaking its universe. He does have weaknesses. Vibranium and Argonite are rare, but when they show up, Hyperion's invulnerability drops away, reminding us that even Marvel's strongest all have limits, sometimes as obscure as a single alloy. That vulnerability isn't just tacked on for drama, it's proof that the category of powerful Avenger means more than brute force. Hyperion sets the standard for what it actually takes to compete at the top tier, cosmic origin, superhuman everything, and a list of affiliations that include Squadron Sinister, Squadron Supreme, Thunderbolts, and the Avengers. If the Avengers can have someone this powerful as a regular fixture, the stakes for what counts as most powerful rise for everyone. Franklin Richards. Unlike Hyperion, who at least had the decency to be balanced by rare weaknesses, Franklin Richards is the child who never got an off switch. He's no full-time Avenger, but for powers that rewrite the cosmic rulebook, nobody in the main continuity even comes close. Franklin Benjamin Richards was named for both Susan Storm's father and Reed's best friend, Ben Grimm, a detail that already sets him apart as a product of Marvel's most iconic family. He arrived when the Fantastic Four snatched the cosmic control rod from Annihilus in the negative zone in an attempt to reduce the internal energies building dangerously inside Sue during pregnancy. Not exactly a low-key origin. Franklin's genetic inheritance is the stuff of legend, Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, and Susan Storm Richards, Invisible Woman, as parents, and the kind of birth that involves a cosmic artifact and a trip through a dimension of living entropy. For years, Franklin's abilities were a curiosity. He could manipulate reality, alter probabilities, and casually rewrite fundamental forces all before he hit his teens. But when the timeline caught up, he shifted from anomaly to real threat. Franklin's powers don't just bend the rules, they obliterate them. Reality warping, universe creation, and Omega-level output that dwarfs almost everything else seen in Marvel's primary Earth 616 continuity. The evidence stacks quickly. Franklin is recognized as an Omega-level mutant whose abilities earned him pivotal status in events affecting all of existence, and pivotal status in events affecting all of existence. There's no counterbalance. The normal checks and balances that apply to other superheroes, rare vulnerabilities, consequence-laden powers, or moral dilemmas Don't touch Franklin. He's not just a powerful Avenger adjacent, he's Marvel's living proof that legacy can breed not just greatness, but unstoppable potential. Tomorrow, you'll remember just one thing. Franklin Richards is the Marvel Universe's answer to what happens when cosmic-level power lands in the hands of a child. Phoenix, Maya Lopez. If you thought unfathomable birthright was alarming, try raw cosmic power in the hands of a human still learning who she is. Maya Lopez didn't ask for the Phoenix Force, it found her, and nothing in her history equipped her for this. A Cheyenne Latin American woman who first entered Marvel Comics back in Daredevil #9, December 1999, she's been a fighter from the start, overcoming the world as one of the rare deaf superheroes, as the adopted daughter of a villain everyone fears, and as a relentless physical prodigy who could copy any move she saw. Instead, in 2021, she was selected as the latest host of a force described as one of the most powerful entities in the Marvel Universe. The facts stack up fast. Maya was raised by the Kingpin himself, then survived years under the mask as Ronin, a name she first wielded in New Avengers #11 in November 2005. As Echo, she earned her stripes with the New Avengers, earning brutal credentials before anyone suspected she'd become cosmic. Then, the Phoenix Force chose her. In pure numbers, Maya is only the latest in a line of hosts, but previous wielders and their power level don't apply here. Because this time, Earth 660's main continuity delivers something new. The Phoenix offers her superhuman strength, speed, durability, cosmic fire, telepathy, and flight. There's a catch. Maya Lopez is still learning what her powers even are. She doesn't enter battle with centuries of experience or the mind of an ancient force. She's figuring it out live, while carrying all the baggage and uncertainty of a human who once just wanted to be heard. She wrestles constantly not only with the Phoenix godlike power, but with its overwhelming, almost predatory personality. And the power isn't gradual, it's instant, the moment-to-moment risk that she could win the fight or lose herself. Of course, you can argue, and with reason, that a Phoenix host struggling for control is a liability, not a walking trump card. There's truth to that. Maya doesn't yet align her new cosmic ability with perfect discipline, and when it comes to pure skill, she's not a centuries-old tactician in human form. But that's exactly what makes her terrifying. Imagine untamed cosmic fire, less stable, less predictable, and every bit as explosive. For Maya, it's all stakes, no certainty. Her victories belong to the force inside her, but the price of losing control is entirely hers. And that's why the Avengers aren't just getting a powerhouse, sometimes they have to hope that maybe they're not facing whatever's looking out through Maya's eyes. Silver Surfer, Norrin Radd. While the previous item grappled with cosmic power surging from within, this one begins with a single, inarguable fact. Norrin Radd is cosmic by design. Born on the distant planet Zenla, a member of an extremely long-lived and technologically advanced race, his transformation begins at the hands of Galactus, who grants him the power cosmic and makes him his herald. The Silver Surfer is everything the name implies: energy and matter manipulation, flight at superluminal speed, and more. His first appearance is written in Marvel history. The Fantastic Four #48, March 1966, a creation stamped by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby themselves. As a Zenlavian, he's not only nearly immortal, but one of the most advanced beings in the primary Marvel Comics continuity. When the Surfer swore to serve Galactus, the cost was literal and global. He would search the stars for worlds to feed his master, all while riding a cosmic surfboard that breaks the rules of space-time. Even exile to Earth by Galactus was an act of cosmic retribution, handed down because Norrin betrayed his mandate to save lives rather than destroy them. The thing is, all of that power, manipulating the very building blocks of the universe and flying rings around most Avengers, only sketches the outline of the character. And that is the small version of the problem. Of course, plenty of evidence paints the Silver Surfer as exactly the team member you want in the final fight. When the Avengers face a cosmic threat or a challenge that can't be punched away, Norrin Radd is who you call. He served with the Defenders, the Annihilators, and other cosmic teams, all while wielding cosmic-scale firepower. His matter manipulation and energy-wielding feats aren't just impressive, they're defining. But the other side of the equation can't be ignored. Despite all that, the Surfer's greatest moments rarely belong to the Avengers. He is perpetually an outsider, a cosmic entity whose actual service on Earth's mightiest team is sporadic. The raw force is real, but it's rarely wielded at the center of the Avengers' hardest missions. This proves the Avengers category isn't about raw might alone. Some of the most powerful beings to ever walk through the roster are, in the end, orbiting figures. Too large for any permanent team, their cosmic problems and cosmic powers ensuring that their full potential sits just out of human reach. Hercules. If distant cosmic powers seem untouchable, Hercules brings mythic force crashing through the front door. As the son of Zeus and Alcmena, Hercules isn't just another strongman, he's a living contradiction. He's worshipped as the Prince of Power and feared as the Lion of Olympus, but he's also a fixture on Earth, throwing punches next to teammates and drinking with them after. While cosmic avatars get headlines, Hercules fights and parties right where everyone can see. His Silver Age debut was in Journey into Mystery Annual number 1, October 1965, created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. His strength is officially class 100 and surpasses most other Olympian gods. He can leap 100 feet straight up from a dead stop, withstand blows that would kill most mortals, and regenerate from severe wounds. Need numbers? He's endured the combined attacks of entire villain teams and walked away. After being brutally beaten by the Masters of Evil during the Under Siege storyline, his survival prompted retribution from Zeus, leading to conflict with the Avengers. Hercules first joined the Avengers during the classic run and has returned for multiple tours, never staying gone for long. His alliance read like a roll call for Marvel's best teams: Avengers, Champions, Heroes for Hire, even the Guardians of the Galaxy. And beyond his power, he wields the Golden Mace, a weapon forged by Hephaestus from adamantine. If you're picturing a guy whose main claim is that he punches things hard, you're missing the part where he survived unaided in the vacuum of space. There's an artistry to the way Hercules shows up. While other powerhouses vanish to their homeworlds or disappear into cosmic legend, he thunders onto the same battlefield as everyone else. That's the cost of being too present and too loud to become a myth. Just look. Godly muscles, battered but grinning, arm around a teammate, a golden mace tossed at his feet like it's nothing at all. Quasar, Wendell Vaughn. Immortal warriors are one thing. A living conduit of the universe's quantum energy is another. Where the last powerhouse survives on raw endurance and mythic legacy, Quasar's legacy is a leap the other direction. From earthbound agent to cosmic cornerstone, all on the back of technology older than the solar system. Quasar, Wendell Vaughn, debuted in The Incredible Hulk, Volume 2, 234, April 1979. He was born in Wisconsin, graduated the She-Hulk Academy, and was considered lacking the killer instinct for field work until acquiring the quantum bands. No origin ritual, no tragedy of the gods, and he took the gig after a test pilot died when the band's energy output spiraled. These aren't just weapons, the bands are 8 billion years old, created by ancient aliens, and allow their champion to wield vast quantum energy. His first real test came during an AIM assault when, instead of being whisked away to safety, he became the thing standing between absolute catastrophe and uncontrollable cosmic power landing in enemy hands. That's what led Eon, the ancient cosmic being, to choose Wendell Vaughn as protector of the universe. Vaughn's father, physicist Gilbert Vaughn, played a key role in his life and the quantum band's story. His own appointment, not a family favor but a cosmic necessity. So what would it take for Quasar to be just a guy with gadgets? Gadgeteers don't get appointed by cosmic entities. She-Hulk doesn't hand billions of years of alien tech to the least likely candidate in a crisis. And being able to become a being of pure quantum energy is not something that happens to just anyone with the right tool belt. It's not about willpower or fighting skill, it's about the singular accident of personality and circumstance that made Wendell Vaughn the only one who could wear the bands without burning out. That's what makes Quasar matter on the Avengers roster. The system is calibrated for force, leadership, judgment, but occasionally, the universe itself makes the call, and the job lands with the one person who both can and should survive its demands. She-Hulk, Jennifer Walters. If every other gamma-powered brood is a riff on anger and loss, She-Hulk is a different story written with the same ink. Jennifer Walters is not just another Hulk with a different wardrobe. Her template is transformation without self-destruction. Jennifer's first appearance dropped in The Savage She-Hulk #1, November 1979, drawn by John Buscema and scripted by Stan Lee. Her full name is Jennifer Susan Walters. Once, she was just another lawyer in Los Angeles County, daughter of Sheriff William Walters, living with the fresh ache of losing her mother Elaine at 17. That ended the day she caught a bullet from crime boss Nicholas Trask. A desperate blood transfusion from her cousin Bruce Banner rewrote her DNA. Unlike Bruce, Jennifer kept her intellect and emotional control after she transformed. That means she can argue a case before a judge and then throw a concrete mixer at a supervillain in the same afternoon. And it's not an act. When the adrenaline surges, her strength spikes, emotions like fear or rage pushing her abilities higher without overwhelming her faculties. She's got a healing factor that can patch up even catastrophic wounds, expertise in criminology, and solid training in martial arts. After joining the Avengers in 1982, she not only stood with the world's mightiest, she held down Ben Grimm's spot in the Fantastic Four. What's actually at stake is more than super strength. It's agency. Whether facing down city gangs or cosmic-level threats, She-Hulk embodies a choice: willpower instead of rage, expertise instead of collateral damage. Isn't she just Hulk but with control? The answer is in the details. She was shot, not irradiated. She trained, didn't run. Her powers amplify under duress, but she is never a hostage to them. There's no other Avenger who pairs legal mind with gamma-fueled muscle, swinging from the courthouse to the battlefield, by design, not accident. A story that starts with an ordinary woman in a hospital bed ends with her standing, unbroken, intellect and power in harmony. Proof that sometimes the transformed hero is not a man at war with himself, but a woman very much at peace with what she's become.